avec ma collègue Rudia Lake, chargée de mission Affaires européennes, et notre partenaire de la CCI, Joy Carty, et moi-même, Julie Sagum, chargée de mission, où on s'occupe de ce projet. Donc, comme précisé hier, notre webinaire fait partie des actions à mener dans le cadre du projet Forward, dont la COM et la CCICM sont partenaires avec les autres 8 autres RUP. Et ce programme Forward a pour objectif de booster la capacité de recherche et innovation dans les RUP et de renforcer leurs accès au programme cadre de l'Union européenne. Je vous ai mis dans le chat le lien, donc si vous souhaitez avoir plus d'informations, n'hésitez pas à visiter la page Forward H2020. Donc, ce webinaire a pour vocation de sensibiliser les acteurs locaux et porteurs de projets potentiels du territoire, à donner des informations et des outils pertinents afin de favoriser leur participation au programme européen en recherche et innovation. Donc, hier, nous avons abordé les programmes FESI et les programmes horizontaux en général pour partager les connaissances un peu plus générales sur les financements européens. Et aujourd'hui, nous allons rentrer dans le vif du sujet. Donc là, on va rentrer vraiment dans le vif du sujet. Nous sommes ravis d'avoir, on attend toujours M. Stéphane Wells, mais nous sommes ravis d'avoir de la DG-RTD de la Commission européenne qui est censée nous présenter les programmes Horizon Europe. Donc, on l'attend. M. Wells fera sa présentation s'il arrive en anglais. Nous avons le plaisir également d'avoir Mme Ella Bouquet ainsi que Fanny Schulz du PCN du programme. Donc, merci beaucoup de votre présence. Avec des éléments vraiment beaucoup plus concrets dont vous allez en prendre connaissance. Et enfin, nous avons également le plaisir d'avoir la participation de Mme Lydia Robaina de l'Université de Las Palmas, des Grandes Canaries, ainsi que Javier, qui fait partie du gouvernement des Canaries, et qui partageons avec vous leur expertise sur la recherche des partenaires, le réseautage et la constitution du consortium. Thank you very much, Javier, for being with us, and Lydia. Donc voilà, on peut commencer, espérant que M. Wells va arriver d'ici peu.
Très bien. Si vous m'entendez,
on vous entend très bien.
Super. Bonjour à tous. Je vais faire en fait cette présentation pour le réseau des points de contact nationaux du programme Horizon Europe. De manière globale, en fait, comme M. Vers va présenter tout à l'heure les aspects généraux du programme, c'est vrai que l'idée c'était de rentrer plus dans le vif du sujet tout de suite et de vous parler donc de la mise en œuvre du programme sous l'angle des conditions de participation en fait. Donc d'abord une présentation un peu générale pour vous expliquer qu'Horizon Europe, donc le nouveau programme cadre 2021-2027 ne sera pas une grande révolution par rapport à la programmation précédente. Il y a une continuité, une volonté de simplification de la part de la Commission européenne et notamment d'être plus transparent et plus clair avec un modèle de convention qui sera dit corporate, en fait qui sera commun à l'ensemble des services de la Commission européenne. Je vous ai mis ici un schéma avec la structuration de cette convention de subvention avec une partie maîtresse qu'on va appeler le data sheet, qui est une fiche synthétique avec des infos clés du projet. Le corpus, en fait, les options après qui s'appliquent en fonction des programmes et sous-programmes d'Horizon Europe et les différentes annexes du contrat. Ensuite, il est important de vous présenter les critères d'éligibilité pour les projets collaboratifs d'Horizon Europe. Donc, il faut savoir que dans ce programme, il faut au minimum réunir 3 entités de 3 pays membres ou associés de l'Union européenne pour former un projet collaboratif. Et il faut désormais qu'au moins ces 3 entités dans ces 3 pays soient au moins établies dans un des États membres. Il ne faut pas seulement avoir 3 pays d'États associés, par exemple. À noter aussi, dans chaque appel à proposition, il y a des conditions spécifiques qui peuvent s'appliquer. Toujours bien lire les documents qui correspondent à l'appel auquel on répond. Pour ce qui est de la collaboration maintenant avec les pays tiers, donc les pays qui ne sont ni membres ni associés du programme, on les divise en fait en 2 catégories qui sont présentées sur cette diapositive. Ceux qui ne seront pas éligibles au financement mais qui peuvent néanmoins participer, comme des pays qui sont le Brésil, la Chine, par exemple, ou les États-Unis, sauf si un accord spécifique existe ou que cela est écrit dans le programme de travail et dans l'appel auquel vous voulez répondre. Et ensuite, il y a la catégorie des pays qui sont automatiquement éligibles au financement, qualifiés par la Commission de Low and Middle Income Countries. Ceux-là auront, je parle au futur, un accord chapeau avec l'UE, puisque à ce stade, les négociations sont encore en cours. Voilà, donc maintenant que je vous ai présenté ces quelques aspects un peu généraux, en fait, l'idée, c'est de plus rentrer dans une approche un peu plus pratique de comment s'initier aux aspects juridiques et financiers du programme et comment, en fait, monter un projet un peu plus concrètement. Déjà, il faut savoir que donc, le programme Horizon Europe fonctionne avec un portail, le Funding and Tender Portal, portail des offres et des financements en français, qui est commun à tous les appels à projets de la Commission européenne. L'image est cliquable, donc quand vous aurez les diapositives, vous pourrez cliquer pour y accéder directement. Donc ça, c'est la page d'accueil et je vous ai entouré en jaune un menu où vous trouvez vraiment énormément d'informations, de documents support, etc. Et puis, le deuxième encadré que j'ai fait, c'est sur la partie sur laquelle vous pouvez vous enregistrer et accéder à d'autres services. Voilà, parce qu'effectivement, je passe vite là-dessus, mais vous avez, grâce à ce portail, un certain nombre de services et de ressources qui sont mis à disposition par la Commission européenne pour vous accompagner en fait dans la préparation et ensuite le suivi de vos projets européens. Qui sont maintenant, le dépôt de projet se fait uniquement en fait en ligne. Tous les appels à projets sont en fait déposés en ligne. Vous trouvez aussi les textes de référence, le manuel en ligne qui est assez utile de regarder. Voilà, un appel, donc chaque appel à projet par topic sur l'appel sur la page, une des pages du portail. Voilà, vous trouvez aussi ce qu'on appelle le dashboard qui permet d'avoir des statistiques à l'échelle d'une institution, à l'échelle d'une région ou d'un pays, si vous souhaitez aller voir des statistiques plus spécifiques. Donc, pour en revenir au projet de manière plus concrète, la proposition de projet H2020 se décompose de deux parties principales. Vous avez une partie plus administrative, vous avez une partie plus technique qui va être l'annexe technique du projet qui va détailler précisément ce qui va être réalisé dans votre projet. Et puis, vous avez des annexes qui s'adjoignent à tout cela. Donc, effectivement, dans Horizon Europe, on travaille en mode projet. Et déjà, il faut vous dire comment est-ce que ces projets sont financés. Donc, le taux de financement du programme est de 100%. À l'exception voilà, des entreprises dans le cadre d'un instrument. Donc, cette slide vous présente en fait les principaux types d'instruments de financement. Ce sont les différents types de projets, dit autrement, que vous pouvez retrouver. Donc, les trois premiers sont les types de projets collaboratifs, actions de recherche, actions d'innovation, actions de coordination et de support. Et donc, dans les actions d'innovation, vous avez la seule exception à ce taux de financement à 100%, qui est un taux de financement à 70% pour les entreprises, et les entreprises uniquement, dans le cadre de ces projets. Et puis, vous avez d'autres types de projets plus spécifiques en fonction des volets du programme. Donc, le mode de projet, donc un projet, voilà, c'est un ensemble finalisé d'activités et de besoins, pour répondre à des besoins avec une enveloppe budgétaire définie. Et il y a trois types d'objectifs à avoir en tête: la qualité, le temps et les coûts qui se réfèrent à ce projet, et trois niveaux de contrôle également. Vous avez, ici, je vous présente rapidement voilà, le système projet, la manière dont les choses s'articulent quand vous allez penser votre proposition de projet. Vous allez partir d'un appel à projet, réponse à des besoins, il y aura une sélection. Le projet, ce sont des ressources et des objectifs. Pour obtenir ensuite des résultats, ça c'est de plus en plus important dans ce programme Horizon Europe, des résultats que vous allez diffuser et valoriser. Voilà, après c'est un cycle qui continue. Voilà, les recettes du succès, c'est de travailler avec les chercheurs dont émanent les idées de projet, avec le personnel support qui va être le garant des règles des appels à projets et aussi des règles de l'institution. Donc, c'est vrai qu'il faut penser à l'adéquation entre les règles des propositions de projet, mais aussi des règles de l'institution qui s'appliquent habituellement dans l'entreprise ou dans l'université, par exemple, dans laquelle vous allez travailler. Donc, un point maintenant sur la terminologie, parce qu'il y a des rôles, en fait, et une organisation qui est bien définie dans un projet Horizon Europe. Donc, je vous en ai fait une liste ici des principales que vous allez retrouver, qu'il faut bien définir et connaître si vous voulez pouvoir monter un projet. Donc, il y a le coordinateur, les bénéficiaires qui sont encore appelés les partenaires, les work packages, et du coup qui ont des leaders, donc les subdivisions travaillent dans les projets, les livrables, des jalons aussi, et puis les tierces parties. Alors, je vous ai fait des slides, mais je sais qu'on a peu de temps aujourd'hui, donc je ne vais pas forcément rentrer dans le détail, mais de toute façon, vous aurez la présentation à disposition. Je l'ai déjà envoyée aux organisatrices. Donc voilà, qui vous présente tout cela. Juste un mot pour vous dire que quand on parle de coordinateur, on parle d'une institution, puisque c'est une institution qui signe le contrat de subvention. Ça, c'est important de le noter. Et il a un rôle tout à fait clé, puisqu'il fait l'interface avec la Commission européenne tout au long de la vie du projet. Les bénéficiaires, les work packages, les livrables, donc ce sont les résultats concrets des projets que vous aurez à déposer, que vous définirez dans votre plan de travail, les jalons également. Voilà pour ces différents termes importants dans une proposition Horizon Europe. Maintenant, il y a aussi quelque chose sur lequel je voulais m'arrêter un petit peu, c'est l'étape de l'évaluation des projets. Que vous montez une proposition et donc ensuite elle est évaluée. Comment ça se passe dans Horizon Europe à ce niveau-là? Donc il y a 3 critères d'abord d'évaluation principale qui sont à connaître, qui sont l'excellence, l'impact et puis la qualité et l'efficience de la mise en œuvre du projet. Donc attention, voilà, je vous ai précisé aussi, donc outre ces critères principaux, attention à des critères supplémentaires et des pondérations différentes dans les notes qui pourraient apparaître en fonction des programmes de travail dans lesquels se situe l'appel auquel vous allez répondre. L'évaluation se déroule en 1 ou 2 étapes. C'est précisé aussi quand vous allez consulter l'appel à projet. Et l'évaluation est réalisée par des pairs. C'est-à-dire que la CE convoque des comités d'experts indépendants qui sont appelés les experts évaluateurs. Autre chose à savoir, donc le temps dévolu à l'évaluation est de maintenant 5 mois maximum. La CE s'y est engagée depuis la programmation précédente. Voilà un petit schéma pour vous présenter, vous montrer autrement donc, ces différentes étapes donc, de l'évaluation, depuis l'attribution des propositions aux experts évaluateurs qui vont prendre connaissance des propositions, avoir des réunions, différentes réunions après avoir évalué ces propositions de consensus pour ensuite rendre un rapport d'évaluation qui sera remis aux proposants à l'issue du processus d'évaluation, qu'il soit retenu d'ailleurs. Voilà, donc ça peut être un élément important si vous n'avez pas réussi à remporter le projet lors d'un premier dépôt. Donc voilà, donc les experts évaluateurs, j'en ai parlé, on en comptait de 3 à 5 en fonction de la taille des projets. Et au sein de ces experts évaluateurs, la Commission européenne nomme un référent, un point de contact principal. Et vous voyez un petit schéma qui vous explique voilà, autrement comment se passe ce processus d'évaluation. Ici, je vous explique quels sont les critères principaux d'éligibilité des propositions et d'admissibilité. Donc voilà, il faut que la proposition soit complète, imprimable. De toute manière, comme je vous l'ai dit tout à l'heure rapidement, tout se passe maintenant par le portail du participant qui vous aide et vous encadre de manière à bien respecter tous ces critères, mais c'est important de les avoir en tête. Et donc l'éligibilité, c'est ce dont je vous parlais tout à l'heure, avec les 3 pays minimum si vous êtes dans un projet collaboratif, par exemple. Ensuite, et puis pour finir, un aspect plus sur le montage du budget. Il est important en fait de bien estimer ses coûts, de se poser les bonnes questions, de sorte qu'en fait, ce soit en partant des besoins que vous élaboriez le budget et pas dans un autre sens. Je pense que c'est effectivement ce qui vous permettra de couvrir le maximum de coûts et de bien répondre aux objectifs de votre projet. Donc voilà, cette diapositive-ci vous présente de manière détaillée quels sont les coûts éligibles que vous pouvez prévoir dans votre budget de projet. Dans les coûts, vous avez des coûts de personnel, vous avez des coûts de subcontracting de la sous-traitance quand les activités ne sont pas réalisées par votre institution. Vous avez après tout autre type de coûts, quand vous avez des missions, des équipements à acheter et tout autre achat de biens ou de services. Et à cela s'ajoute en fait un taux forfaitaire de coûts indirects de 25%. En plus de ces coûts directs que vous aurez pu justifier. Donc, vous voyez, donc on a ces coûts directs remboursés à 100%, ces coûts indirects à 25%. Et donc, si on arrive à déclarer tout ça au mieux, on est quelque part à un taux de 125% de financement, ce qui est assez généreux. Voilà, donc j'en avais fini avec cette partie plus sur les propositions, mais je voulais vous faire quand même une petite parenthèse et vous parler rapidement de comment se préparent les programmes de travail dans lesquels s'inscrivent les appels à projets. Voilà, avec ce schéma qui vous explique un peu le fonctionnement et le fonctionnement au niveau français, avec les thématiques nationaux, avec les points de contact nationaux dont je fais partie, qui échangent en fait et travaillent avec des représentants français au comité de programme des différentes thématiques du programme Horizon Europe et interviennent et interagissent directement avec la commission lors de réunions régulières. Voilà. Et puis, bien sûr, alors un rappel et un récapitulatif sur les principaux documents de référence sur les règles de participation que vous pouvez trouver. Alors, outre le règlement financier et la stratégie de mise en œuvre, donc tout ce que je vous précise, ce sont des liens cliquables, des liens hypertextes. Vous avez donc la convention de subvention dont je vous parlais au début de ma présentation, qui est disponible depuis mai 2020. Et la convention de subvention spécifique à Horizon Europe vient tout juste d'être publiée dans une première version fin février. La retrouver en cliquant ici. Voilà. Et nous attendons encore un certain nombre de documents pour avoir l'intégralité des informations sur les règles de participation, des clauses spécifiques en fait à Horizon Europe, les annexes générales aux différents programmes de travail, et puis le MGA, donc la convention de subvention, dans sa version annotée, qui sera quelque part le guide du proposant, une bible voilà, qui nous aide, nous, spécialistes juridiques et financiers, à vous conseiller sur la mise en œuvre des projets. Et plus d'informations sont à venir à partir de la mi-avril, au moment où devrait être publié, je le mets avec des guillemets, les appels à propositions. Attendez, pardon, je repars dans le mauvais sens. Voilà. Et puis, aussi, je voulais vous faire un focus rapide sur le nouveau site Horizon Europe qui vient d'être ouvert par le ministère et qui sera tout au long du projet, en fait, le tableau de bord du ministère pour informer toute la communauté française sur ce programme Horizon Europe. Donc, n'hésitez pas à aller le consulter. Il sera enrichi de plus en plus de toutes les informations et types d'informations que vous avez listées dans cette diapositive. Et d'ailleurs, vous y retrouvez des informations plus spécifiques sur les règles de participation, sur les différents programmes de travail, etc. Voilà, et puis donc les ressources utiles encore de manière plus spécifique, donc sur les conditions de participation, donc le portail dont je viens de vous parler, et puis la page sur laquelle vous retrouvez les diapositives justement sur les conditions de participation, donc, que je viens de vous présenter juste avant. Voilà, je m'arrête là. En tout cas, si jamais vous vouliez poser une question ultérieurement avec les contacts que vous retrouvez sur le site, voilà, vous aurez toujours l'opportunité de nous contacter. Il y a un formulaire de contact qui a été mis en place sur le site français Horizon Europe.
Alors, il y a une question dans les commentaires de Blandine. Les PCN Environnement et Énergie sont en cours de recrutement. À qui peut-on s'adresser en attendant?
Alors, bien renseigné, les PCN, d'ailleurs c'est vrai pour l'ensemble des PCN, les coordinateurs et aussi les membres du réseau sont en cours de recrutement, ce qui nous occupe pas mal. Mais normalement, il y a toujours des personnes qui répondent justement via le formulaire de contact que je vous ai indiqué. Donc, si vous allez sur le site Horizon Europe, vous avez en fait en haut à droite de la page d'accueil un lien cliquable et là, vous aurez la liste de tous les PCN français et avec un petit formulaire que vous remplissez en moins de 2 minutes. Voilà, vous aurez un message envoyé à personnes qui sont toujours derrière l'alias en attendant le recrutement. N'hésitez pas à le faire. Par ce biais-là, sachant que nous avons Madame Emmanuelle Klein, pour ceux qui la connaissent, qui est la représentante au comité de programme pour cette thématique notamment. Voilà, j'espère que c'est clair, mais si vous allez sur le site, vous retrouverez les informations nécessaires.
Merci Fanny. Si vous avez des questions, n'hésitez pas.
Et pour information, comme j'ai précisé dans le chat, en fin de journée, nous vous transmettrons les présentations qui auront été faites aujourd'hui. Puisque j'ai eu plusieurs demandes par mail, donc voilà, pour info.
Et en tout cas, merci pour l'invitation.
Merci beaucoup. S'il n'y a pas d'autres questions, on pourrait du coup passer la parole à Monsieur Stéphane Wells.
Bonjour à tout le monde et merci
Bonjour.
pour m'avoir invité. Mais je vais continuer en anglais parce que c'est plus facile pour moi et normalement le programme de cadre s'est développé en anglais. Mais n'hésitez pas de poser vos questions en français après. Right.
Perfect.
So I have noticed that my previous speaker was already very detailed in terms of the application procedures, and you got a lot of information about Horizon Europe already. This afternoon, in a quite short time, I will walk you through the program overall architecture, and then I will draw your attention to some particular elements that I'm representing here, the widening part, because this is a very big novelty, and especially for you very interesting, because the outermost regions have become fully eligible to host the coordinator for these widening actions under Horizon Europe. First of all, I would like to let you know that unlike other framework programs, the Horizon Europe has become much more political. So the ambition of the European Commission is to use research and innovation as a driver and enabler of change. And there are the three aspects that you can see on this slide that are very important. First of all, it should contribute to accelerate the twin transition. With twin transition, we mean actually the digital transformation, but also the move towards a green and decarbonized economy, which is circumscribed by the Green Deal that President von der Leyen has mentioned in public a couple of times. Another element is the next generation EU, that research should also help to strengthen the resilience and prepare for crises. And last but not least, it's about the competitive edge of Europe, so that Europe can gain a better technology sovereignty and can catch up and keep pace in the global race for knowledge. For this purpose, a very big budget was established and confirmed just in December by the European Commission, the Council, and the Parliament. And if you see how these 95 billion approximately are distributed, you see it goes into a couple of pillars or program parts. The most important that is absorbing more than 53 billion is the global challenges and Europe in industrial competitiveness. The second biggest part goes to excellent science. I will explain to you in more details later. And the third biggest slice of the cake is devoted to innovative Europe. And there's a small slice here. 3.4 billion is about widening participation and strengthening the era. I will draw your attention especially to that because there are a lot of actions that are interesting, especially for capacity building. If you look onto that in a more in a different kind of breakdown, and we just look into the center of that, ignoring a bit the Euratom and the Defense Fund, you see that under these pillars, we have also subdivisions in particular aspects. Excellent science means actually to fund really world-class basic research that is typically bottom-up. There are no concrete political expectations, but the importance of that is underlined already by the recent situation with the COVID pandemics, because one of the scientists who developed the first vaccine was formerly funded by the European Research Council. Also, a number of Nobel Prize winners are in this very noble club of ERC awardees. And this is research that is purely selected on the grounds of excellence, and it can be submitted in proposals for individuals and their research groups. And then you know certainly the Marie Sklodowska-Curie grants, fellowships, that is for mobility of excellent researchers and the support of research infrastructures. The pillar 2 is expected to respond to global challenges and European industrial competitiveness. And here we have a subdivision in 6 clusters, which is about health. The second, culture, creativity, and inclusive society. The third one is about civil security for society. And then there's a dedicated cluster for digital industry and space, climate, energy, and mobility, and food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture, and environment. You see under Pillar 3, the Innovative Europe, which encompasses the European Innovation Council, European Innovation Ecosystem, and the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. There are also quite some novelty in that. I will explain it later to you. And then you see the horizontal bar that we called in the negotiation in French, the nickname was the pilier couché, but it should not be pilier caché, because it's important as an important linking element across the pillars above. I will come to that a bit later. I will just move a bit to key novelties. One of the first one that was really also a kind of revolutionary progress to fund innovation is the setup of the European Innovation Council as a one-stop shop. It's particular, it was rooted a bit in the former SME program, but has been radically reshuffled and modernized. And actually, it will also have a focus on SME. So we expect 70% of the budget to be invested in SMEs. But the way the funding schemes and the format has very much changed. So it starts with a Pathfinder scheme, which is more based on early technology and proof of concept. Then there will be a grant for the transition, which is a bit more pre-commercial. And then there will be an accelerator grant, which includes grants and investment via the EIC fund for single SMEs and startups. Here it funds the pre-commercial and startup phase and also scaling up. The novelty here is that for the first time, also European institutions can become shareholders of these companies. So there is a considerable amount available for equity funding, which is absolutely a novelty. Another thing that is also for you, I think, quite interesting, that are the forthcoming missions, which means that there are EU missions that are relating to research and innovation better to society and citizens' need, with strong visibility and impact. The mission is actually a portfolio of excellence-based activities that helps to achieve a particular goal. For the moment, there are 5 mission areas that were identified, as you can see here. So it's adaptation to climate change, it's a mission on cancer, on healthy oceans, sea, coastal and inland waters, but also on climate neutral and smart cities, soil health and food. I can imagine that perhaps for your constituency in particular, the 3rd mission on the healthy oceans might become very interesting. Under missions, we do not understand simply the portfolio of pure research and innovation projects, but also things should materialize on the ground by involving other funds from European sources, but also from others. Okay, here's a bit more the detail. The mission boards, they have identified more concretely these topics, but you can also read it out. European partnerships, I will not go so much into the details because I think it is, for your case, not so much the key area of concern. But important is that we will continue with the international cooperation, which will tackle together global societal challenges, access to the world's best talents, expertise and resources. The Horizon Europe will still remain open to 3rd countries. Here you will find a lot of opportunities for intensified targeted actions, particularly I think in the island territories that are often very close to overseas countries and other continents other than Europe. That could be opportunity also for you to seek for. One thing is also extremely important, and this a very, let's say, dramatic novelty in the new framework program is the emphasis on open science practices. Open science, more practically speaking, mean that 2 mandatory elements will have to be considered in the projects. First of all, any publications that are created in the projects, there must be in open access mode. That means you can publish immediately after the peer review, but the scientists who publish, they will have to pay that. But the cost of this activity will be funded from the project. So you do not have to pay it from your own pocket. The second element is a data sharing. We want to have more open data policy, and all applicants will be obliged to submit a data management plan that is respecting the principle of FAIR, which means findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable research data. In this context, we are also supporting and funding at a large scale the European Open Science Cloud. That will be a technical repository where major research data sets can be deposited and also shared with other scientists. So the assessment of the open science practices will also become an award criterion for the proposal evaluation. It should also, open science also means a better involvement of the society, for instance, citizens, but also relevance for policy. So there should be a support to open science policy actions also. Next, okay. I mentioned already here the excellent science. It goes a bit more into the detail. You see that the bulk of the funding will go into European Research Council funding. I will show you here again the clusters, and you can also see that there is a tentative budget distribution underlying. What you will notice is that the budget shares are not evenly distributed, and they reflect in a way this political priority of the twin transition. As you can see, that both for the digital part, digital industry and space, but also for the climate, energy and mobility part, more than 15 billion will be invested. On top of that, on the bottom, you see also the funds to the community research center. The joint research center will also receive approximately 2 billion. Innovative Europe are already mentioned. Now I'm coming to my specialty, which is the part on widening participation and strengthening the European research era. And you see here a distribution in a kind of a balance sheet on the left-hand side with approximately 2.9 billion, on the right-hand side 0.4. The big difference here is that on the left-hand side there's a kind of ring fencing for countries that are identified to be widening countries based on an indicator that was presented to the Council already 2 years ago. These countries are the EU 13, so all the more recent member states, plus Portugal, plus Greece, since they are the less prosperous of the old EU. On top of that, the outermost region, so all of your territories have the same status. So you could host the coordinator for all of these actions. That means you would also receive the lion's share of the funding in such a project. This is very important to know. On top of that, also the associated countries will be eligible. I would just quickly walk through to the novelties and then come back to the individual actions. We have, maybe some of you will certainly know this program. It has now been strongly aligned with the new era strategic priorities. One of the key priorities is actually to improve the access to excellence. The core instruments of widening, teaming, twinning era chairs will be continued. It is now also possible that research costs for coordination and support action are fully eligible for teaming, twinning, and the era chairs. We will put more emphasis on developing the research management capacities, and the intergovernmental networking framework cost will be fully integrated. I've already mentioned the list of eligible countries. And on top of that, we will run an Advancing Europe package that entails a number of additional support schemes. In the work program logic, we have broken it down into what we called destinations. So the destination 1 is improved access to excellence. Second destination relevant for that program is attracting and mobilizing the best talents. Here you can see it again, and I will explain you perhaps a bit. I have not so much time, I presume. I will shortly explain you the different instruments, and feel free to ask questions afterwards. Teaming is actually the development, the creation of new or the modernization of existing centers of excellence that can be research labs, universities, and so on, with the help of outstanding partners from abroad that we call the advanced partners. The project volume is at least 8 million, between 8 and 15 million, and the same amount has to be provided by another funding source, by national funding or structural funds. It was a very complex instrument and requires quite intense preparation. The second one is twinning. Twinning means the development of a particular scientific or innovation domain within the host organization in widening country or outermost region with a small network of partners that help to develop this topic. And as a novelty, a research project can be integrated. There will also be a special call for Western Balkan countries. In addition, we have a new scheme that is called the Excellence Hubs. That means a funding scheme that will support the collaboration of place-based innovation ecosystems. Another new initiative is the European Excellence Initiative for Higher Education Institutions that will link up universities in the widening countries, but also abroad. And the idea is here to set up a transformation modernization agenda and also to carry out some joint research activities. There will be a smaller funding for policy platform for the Western Balkans, and also an important element, and that could also be very attractive for you. And you need to think about that together with your national contact point, that is the hop-on facility. Hop-on facility will mean that you have that there are ongoing projects and already established consortia that can invite an additional partner from a widening country or from your territories to join the ongoing project. And then the widening program would fund the cost for this new partner, and the project would then be enlarged and amended. We also fund the cost framework that I mentioned already. Then we have the Destination 2, that is about attracting and mobilizing the best talents. And here we will have the ERA chairs. I know that in for instance, on Madeira and the Canary Islands, there were already a couple of such projects. And ERA chair is actually about an individual and plus his or her team that joins a host organization in a widening country and then establish their new research strand, new research group, and also should become a kind of game changer in the new working environment. Last but not least, there will be a number of new brain circulation grants, and we envisage two different schemes. One will be the ERA Fellowship, which is a bit a continuation of the widening fellowship, quite similar to the Marie Sklodowska-Curie fellowships. But the condition is that the candidates move to a widening country and should also show an intersectorial mobility. There should be one stay also in a, let's say, non-academic sector. The second scheme that is under development are the ERA Talents. It's also a mobility grant, but the difference here is that the scope is a bit enlarged and will also include candidates who have not a PhD, but are very, let's say, instrumental for the research system. For instance, data managers, highly qualified technicians, engineers, but also research managers. The Destination 3 is about the ERA part, which is not ring-fenced, and there are a number of smaller support actions and projects that will actually boost the European research area. Okay, here again a bit of a repetition and showing the differences between the schemes, but I think I would like to close now so you can see you have some time to ask the questions. Thank you very much. Merci.
Thank you, Mr. Wears. Do you have any questions? Est-ce qu'il y a des questions? Question, what calendar for the first upcoming calls, Mr. Wears?
sorry,
The calls
when
will
you can
concern
expect.
all
Okay,
of the two
the
pillars.
timeline is the following. That this is correct. We will launch and adopt. There are actually 3 pillars work package, and what I can say that the second half of the calls for the pillar 1, the calls will be excellent science, was already published. Has been adopted and will be published in the next days. September, this is a particular case, but the 2 other pillars will follow then in April.
A question. The information that you just presented, would it be available online for us to go through exactly what the criteria is for the different pillars?
Yeah, I will prepare the presentation in a bit condensed manner and send it then to the colleague who has invited me, and then she can organize it that it is either sent to you by email or it is published on the website.
Yes, the presentation will all be sent to
Yeah,
all of the
I'm sorry, I have to
participants.
adjust the title because I was a bit in a hurry and it was not perfectly customized, but I will do that after the meeting. And then you have the slides that I presented or the ones that are for you most relevant, because 30 slides from the original presentation would be a bit too much, I presume.
The slide where pillar 2 is concerned, where they have food and energy mobility, would that be a study that can be hosted here to have more insight and research? And what are the requirements to be able to head up such a research?
You're speaking about the food cluster, right?
Yeah, where the biomass and bioenergy and that kind of stuff.
I have to say that I'm not an expert for this work program part, because I was actually with my team drafting this widening part. I can only give you maybe some very general information. I think your colleague was speaking before already explained to you what I like this presentation very much, was very clear how to set up a project, but you would need to look into the details of the topics, and then you identify the topics that fits to your research scope, and then you have 2 ways. Either you take the courage to become a coordinator and you are looking for partners, or you try to find a consortium that you can join. And here I would strongly advise to contact you, use your national contact point. I do not know, is your country is France, I presume, or is it another of the country that is in the outermost regions?
I'm part of Saint Martin.
From Saint Martin, so you would maybe you engage your French NCP, national contact point, to help you to find a suitable project and or consortium that you could join.
Okay.
What we also want to do is, and that is important from the widening point of view, that we will organize a matchmaking service for such purposes. But at the current stage, this is not yet in place because we have to conclude the contract first.
Okay, but from what I research and everything that has to do anything with renewable and bioenergy, that St. Martin doesn't have nothing that is applicable. Everything is not applicable for our region. So I was like, we would be actually creating something that does not exist as yet.
Okay, it's for me difficult to judge, because I do not know the details of this work program, and I do not know the facilities that you have available in St. Martin.
Okay. Well, basically, I'm starting from scratch from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, but did you see already a work program draft, or do you?
I've been looking, and the only place I have actually saw anything similar to what I want to do is with Veolia, but that's based in France. And anything that is similar that has partnering with Veolia here is with the EDF. And
Okay.
they're more specializing in water management, but not waste management. So the processing is something that has not been done here. So I would think that I would have to partner with the company in France directly.
Yeah, I think that could also be a good way that you team up with somebody who is already more established, and you can join the consortium together with the company.
Yeah.
I think that could be a good strategy. I mean, it is really, we have to be honest here. If you are starting, if you have no experience with previous work in EU projects, it would be very difficult to let's say to become the initiator of the project, to become the coordinator, because it's very complex, and you also need to find the partners. That is extremely hard. So here, if you have a very good idea, a good research idea, I would rather go this way, as you mentioned. You identify one of your established partners, and you join with the partner in the trail in a potential consortium.
Just not to cut you guys off, we have Javier that can probably answer this question, because that will be the next presentation about consortium and linking, getting different partners. So he has his hands up. Maybe he wants to complete your answer, Mr. Weirs.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Weirs, for your nice presentation and very clarified. One of the questions that I have is, I think that I agree with you that the widening program is going to be very useful for all of us, for the outermost region for sure. And I am particularly interested in the action of Hop On you mentioned. Yeah. Is that joined to already funded consortia? This is exactly going to be this is going to be applicable for the programs that were funded on ACE 2020, or only for the new ones?
Only for the new ones. We will focus this on the pillar 2 of the new ones. And that could also be an opportunity for you. For instance, you can start, so we will activate the Hop-on facility in 22. Because we need first to have let's say, a certain portfolio of ongoing projects available. We also have, let's say, to prepare the technical aspects of this facility and the evaluation procedure and the business procedures. The idea here is actually that if there's, let's say, a candidate to become Hop-on, needs to find a coordinator who would be willing to, let's say, submit a very simplified application for the Hop-on. And this will be then shortly evaluated in a simplified mode. And if it is okay, the project will be extended or enlarged, and then they go ahead. There will be no new proposal, no new project. It will be an ongoing project. And we also have to work to intensify the work with the NCPs, also to raise the awareness for this. In particular, I could imagine that in your case, because the outermost regions, they provide some particular assets geographically, where, for instance, you could offer a particular test site or a particular lab or access to some resources that would make it attractive for the consortium. The condition of course, for making it happen will be that the whole consortium has to agree, has to give a consent, and the new partner has to present a distinct and dedicated task or work package that has a scientific added value. So I just gave the example. For instance, you say you have a particular, say, marine test site or area where you could do some work which is unique and is not yet existing in the consortium. You would be certainly a very much desired candidate to join the consortium.
Okay, thank you very much. Very interesting.
Thank you. If there's not any other question, we can pass to Javier and Lydia's presentation. Thank you very much, Mr. Weirds, for your presentation.
Yeah, it was my pleasure.
Once we get the presentations, we will be sending to all the participants.
Yeah, okay. So I have to go to other meetings, so I'm sorry. Well, thank you very much again, and have a nice morning in your what time? I think 10 o'clock you have.
It's 11 here in St. Martin.
Right.
Yes.
And you have certainly better weather than here. Here it's sunny,
yes.
but I think your temperature will be 5 times the of Brussels temperatures, I presume.
Yes, yes, it is. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So enjoy your workshop and good luck with your proposals.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Javier, we pass to you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you, Yunisa. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Could you confirm if you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
No. Okay.
Yes,
perfect.
I can see.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank you, Yunisa, for your invitation to the Canary Islands to take part of this webinar. As you know, I'm going to share my presentation with my colleague Lydia, since I'm going to present more the institutional part of the Canary Island government in the different programs we are taking part. But we would like to also show the vision of the scientific part. Okay, this is what we're going to do. My colleague Lydia, who is going to show you one specific program that I think it could be very interesting. Also, science is going to be in line with the objectives of the New Horizon program, and particularly with Green Deal and the circular economy, and where I am also member as of the scientific in collaboration with Lydia. As you know, this webinar is part of the Forward project, the Work Package 4, but I'm also in charge of the Work Package 5 that is trying to promote the networking. One of the persons who was in the meeting was asking about how to be part of this consortia. And I think that Forward is going to help to most of these persons who are interested in taking part of new consortia through the participation of the thematic working groups that we already organized within Forward. In later stage, in the next slides, I'm going to show a little bit more in detail the Forward, but it's not more in deep. Okay, so just to show you who we are. I mean, in the terms of the Canary Islands Research and Innovation Agency, we are the body of the regional government that is in charge of the policies of research and innovation, and also the body we are in charge of our RIS3 strategy, the smart and strategy for the region. So we are actually in charge of the modification and to prepare and the preparation of the new S4, right? So also our objectives should be in line with the Sustainable Development Goals of the 2030 agenda, the European strategy, for sure our RIS3, but also with the program or RDF program or FCS program. And by the end, we are trying to promote the economic growth, the job creation, and the change in the economic model of the island that you know is based mostly on tourism, and to promote the knowledge-based economy, right? We have 3 main pillars where we are acting. The first one is trying to implement or develop the different policies for RD&I. Also, we control and we are the contact point with our national authorities and about the different funds that are coming for RD&I. So we are launching different programs during the whole multi-framework program for our ecosystem, both universities, R&D centers, or companies. And our third pillar, or our third action as a regional agency, is try to internationalize our ecosystem, our R&D ecosystems. And on this regard, we are also part of different consortia in the different framework programs. For example, we are taking part in the Interreg programs, and where we are in close collaboration with our closer area groups. Okay, that means Azores and Madeira, and even third countries in the African coast. In this regard, the agency, we are coordinators of 3 different programs, the RIS3 and the Dynamic EGOP. All of them are much more related with the cooperation or to establish networks in order to try to promote a similar RIS3 in the 3 regions. So we are sharing the similar limitations, similar economic structure, and we understand that our RIS3 could be very close one to the others. Additionally, we are also taking part of 4 different programs as partners, where our commitment is much more based on our scientific background. And on this regard, we are working mainly in programs related with desalination, programs related to the blue biotechnology, or the program that my colleague Lydia is going to show you later on, the circular economy and the utilization of aquaponic systems. But apart from the Interreg, we are also part of different H2020 consortia. One of them is for sure the Forward. Probably most of you know about Forward, so I'm not going to be more in detail in Forward, but we have been also taking part of another A2020 program that is the Macaronite, is the research and research Macaronesia research night. That is a Marie Sklodowska-Curie action. That is also part of the A2020. And recently, we have been funded to be part of the Athena program. The Athena program is also a very interesting program, and it's going to try to implement gender equality plans in all the research institutions and the funding agencies as we are. So if probably you know that in Horizon Europe, one of the conditions that the program is going to try to set up is that all the participants need to have gender equality plans in their institution to be part of a consortia, okay? Additionally, we have been part of more scientific-based consortia. So, for example, AquaExcel, this is a program that is based on the aquaculture facilities of excellence, and where we are sharing these facilities with researchers from all over the world, and another different programs such as Diversify, Reina, or Aqua Impact, that are programs basically based on blue economy in this case, okay? As I mentioned, I'm not going to be in detail of Forward, so please, I'm sorry, I'm going to pass very quickly the Forward consortia, but I just want to focus on this part of the project, that is the work packages. As in your first presentation, you see before the different work packages we have, if the actions that we are going to conduct. And in this case, in Forward, we are in charge of the work package 1, that is the management and coordination. But for the interest of this talk today, I think that the Forward, the most important part of Forward within the next Horizon Europe, is based on the thematic working groups we are already organized. And the working groups, maybe some of you are members of these working groups, are based on the 8 thematics that you can see in in the pillar 2 of the New Horizon Europe are a complete match perfectly with the different thematic areas. So what we are trying to do with this thematic group is trying to build new groups that can be applied for the Horizon Europe in a near future. I think, as Mr. Weiss mentioned, probably in next April, the calls are going to be open, and all the people that are taking part of these groups probably is going to be much more ready to prepare and to organize new consortia for this program, right? I'm not going to go in detail about what is the role of the coordination, but because in the first presentation was already addressed, but you know, just to take care of the project by the end, the overall project evolution by the end. In order to answer some of the questions that the organization set us, I would like to try to separate the two, my question depending on what is the purpose of the consortia, okay? How we organize the search for partners, it depends if the consortia is going to be built as a network. For example, Forward is an example where the institutional background you can see has probably more weight than the scientific background, and we try to look for partners in this way, utilizing all of our institutional, let's say, power, okay? So, I mean, for this, in the case of the RUPS, it was very interesting, the cooperation and the coordination with the Comité de Suivi or the Conference of Presidents that support our proposals and try to join, in this case, the RUPS as a whole consortia, okay? Probably if the proposal we are going to prepare, it goes to the other side, I mean, in the scientific part, the institutional background maybe is not such as important, and the scientific background is going to be the most important part to be successful in our proposal, or even to be approved to be part of a consortia. So for this is very important to have a good network, have a good connection with, let's say, all over the world, the world, the scientifics that are working on this specific area. We are going to present our proposal. Since the consortia, when you try to be part of a consortia, you need to be invited, and you are invited not because you are a group. You are invited because you have some kind of expertise or some kind of excellence in this specific domain. Okay, so we have to separate these two visions. Finally, regarding to the Forward and how Forward is going to be useful for us, for the RUPS, I would like to address what Mr. Weiss mentioned. The widening part is very important. It's going to be a good chance for all the Forward consortia to take part of these twinning actions. As I mentioned, the Hope on Action, the national contact points or the regional contact points we are trying to implement within the Forward. And in this pillar widening, we can obtain funds to become a reality of these actions, okay? Probably regarding to the thematic working groups we already organized, they are going to be very successful in the pillar 2. They have to focus on apply to the pillar 2 launches, and at some point also to the Marie Curie Slovakia actions. So from my side, I think this is, I try to give you a general vision of how to Forward can help to be much more successful in this new Horizon Europe. And I'm going to now give the floor to my colleague Lydia, who is going to share with you the experience with a specific program for science. Okay. Thank you very much to all the organizers and the people who's taking part of the webinar.
Thank you, Javier, for your presentation. It was very clear. We are going to send all these presentations after the webinar.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any questions before we go to Lydia? Okay, so we're gonna go straight up to Lydia's presentation.
Okay, I'm trying to share mine. Can you see mine? Can you see mine?
Yes, we can. Yes, yes, I can see.
Okay, so, okay, thank you. Good morning. A pleasure to share this time with you. Thanks, nice and also very clear speakers before, so thanks for all of them and also for the organizers. By the way, I forgot to present my group, so just to say you that I'm Lydia Robaina, a professor from the University of Las Palmas de Gran Canaria. Also senior research at the Aquaculture Research Group, belong to the EcoAqua Institute. This Aquaculture Research Group have been working for the excellence in their research and facilities on aquaculture, and now we are, I think we are a reference group in this matters in Europe. If I'm sincerely, I'm currently working in European projects in high consortium since last 20 or so years. And this project I'm just sharing you now is the first one I have the pleasure to lead, and it's the only one or the first one I'm working just with islands and close to regional islands and regions collaboration. So I think really, as the previous speakers have told us, we have a real opportunity to grow together and to improve our world, or Iceland's world together. So yes, okay, so this is just a few words to present myself and my group. So I'm leading this project, which is okay. Let me see. I have this. Can't see this. Can you see now better? So I'm working or leading this Iceland Interreg MAC, which I'm going just to present as an example to how to promote the collaborative research, development, and innovation. This project was found previously. We are now finishing and starting a new one. The project we call Iceland Up, and now Iceland Up Advanced. Advanced is just starting, and the name of the project is Research Day towards aquaponic development in the European outmost regions, Iceland, and the circular economy. So the idea is just to show you how we can. Okay, so Javier told me just to talk about how to create a consortium. So the first step we did to access to the fund, it was just to think in who do we are, and the second is the specific questions we would like to answer through the project we are trying to develop. In this case, exactly who do we are? We are Madeira Island, Canary Islands, and also Cape Verde Island, which are sharing from the beginning the ideas. And what do we share as interregional areas? So we share similarities like water shortage, garbage management, low food quality, low food security, good climate conditions, and also need for education to promote sustainability. At that time, all of our regions shared tourism continuously increasing while agriculture decreasing. So with all this in mind, our islands are under the context for the priority global development objectives, which are food security and water use optimization, aquaculture for all of us like for the rest of the world at the moment, is a key sector in food security and new technologies. The third goal is increment in clean energies. The fourth was work for the zero waste, lowering the CO2 production. And through this zero waste, develop bioeconomy and circular economy in our islands. So, and the last objective around this island is awareness and education about all these matters. So when we have all this in mind, which is the Iceland Up question to answer? We know who do we are, but what is the question to answer? The question is, can be aquaculture a model for the local circular economy development? This was the question we want to show. And then let's find a way to answer this question among our consortium. So a way to improve in our island this world priority objective while promoting innovation and research synergies, it was aquaponic. And then why aquaponic? Because aquaponic, it means a mix of areas working together, aquaculture, agriculture, hydroponic, engineering, economy, tourism, and many more. So why aquaponic and what is aquaponic? So aquaponic is, as most of you know at the moment, is just to grow a fish together with plants to generate in integrated way innovation in food production, both in seawater and also in freshwater. So if you see this scheme of the aquaponic, many areas to share and develop together at regional and interregional levels. So this is what we try to develop, just put aquaponic as a central objective to work together to promote the circular economy in our islands. And the main objective at the end, when we have the consortium and then the ideas and then how we can solve this answer, the main objective of this consortium is to potentiate the research RID to promote sustainable aquaponic production adequate to our region, and thus the circular economy. The second objective was to create a multidisciplinary network to promote all these ideas. And finally, what do we want to promote really? As when we have these ideas and this objective, through this short development to longer or later development, what we have trying to do in 4 years and now 4 years more is trying to locally develop innovation around our bioresources and bioresidues, and also to promote in a longer time our Iceland sustainability growth and growth both lines and sea and lands. And as examples of how are we working to create this objective, so this is some of our collaborative results we have now. So we have first we have selected all together which kinds of aquaculture we want to manage, which kind of fish we want to manage. So some of the region have selected their own ones and the other the different species. So every one of us are thinking in new species, more sustainable species, like Magil, for example, Magil species. Second thing we are trying to do together is just selection, management, and analysis of raw materials per region. So we have listed the local organic byproduct per region. We have listed the byproduct. We have selected which byproduct we want to start working with. So we have selected, for example, aloe, byproduct from the wine production, byproduct for the fourth gram processing for direct human consumption, and many other things we are put on our balance to start to work together to found a second life for this byproduct we never used before, and put them on innovation. Another thing we are working is selection of alophyte plants from marine side. So Saliconia and many other plants we have in our regions, they support salt, and these plants that support salts, they have on itself a lot of bioactive, but there was ancient used and now forgiven. So we put this again on the balance, try to use these plants for our aquaponic system in saltwater. And of course, this is my main subject for on research, which is develop sustainable aquafeeds. So with this on our hands, we try to produce local feeds for aquaculture. So try to downscale aquaculture to our local scalable way of work, and thus be able to use our byproducts around this production in aquaponic. And also we have improving in the competitiveness of our aquaponic production through studying the characteristic of the plant we are producing, the microalgae we are producing in our system, how we can automatically control our system, and how we are developing now the alternative energy to move all things in our aquaponic system. So if you think in all these, why aquaponic? Aquaponic, as I told you before, is a way of working together many areas for one thing. So if we have one thing to work and share together different areas, we can improve our knowledge and be quick creating innovation. For this time, we are working together nowadays, logistic engineering, economy, bioeconomy, marine plants researchers, microalgae researchers, and agriculture researchers, apart from aquaculture and aquaponic in the same. So many areas working just for aquaponic development in our islands, and then promoting circular economy. One thing important around the circular economy at the time we create this consortium is that circular economy is coming to our main, but no one can explain. So we need to put exact examples to how to run circular economy, because circular economy is coming, but no one 4 years back knows how to work for circular economy or for develop circular economy. So at that time we think, okay, let's find a way to work together. So this is the way to promote the circular economy. I think it worked, and now we have to continue for 4 years more. And last slide is this work for 4 years made us to promote or give a jump one step more, which is creating a unit for aquaponic, not only aquaponic, but for exploration of aquatic foods production through innovative and sustainable production systems. So it's not only aquaponic, there are coming many new systems and innovation system for food production. So starting from aquaponic, and knowing now how to work together, how we can expect and wait for this coming a new food production system in aquatic system. And okay, just one objective: sustainable feed production through aquaponic to promote the circular economy and the sustainable use of the bioresource. And this is the last. So this is some photos of our college working together. We have a lot of young people working for us. And so thanks for your attention. And okay, I would like to show you this RESIS. RESIS is our network for circular economy in Iceland. So please, if you have interested or want to share or ask some, so please join us as this website. Thank you very much, and thanks for inviting me, and thanks to Javier also.
Thank you, Lydia, for your presentation. It was very condensed and with a lot of technicity, but it was clear. So I hope this was very helpful for all the participants. En tout cas, je vous remercie à tous d'avoir participé à ce webinaire sur 2 jours. Thank you very much to you all that was present on this webinar for 2 days. Thank you, Lydia. Thank you, Javier. All the participants today, Fanny, Mr. Wears. Merci beaucoup. Merci à tous de participer. Au revoir.